In this video, let's discuss the power of presence. Presence is the power. But what do I mean by presence? Being present. Being present. Being here. Being now. Being aware of the present moment. The more present you are, the less in your head you are. The more present you are, the less thinking you're doing. The more present you are, the less personality you are. Most people, they're stuck in their personality. They're overly identified with the personality. And it's their personality that makes things personal. And because they're so personal, they're so overly attached to things. And they're so easily offended. And they're so easily offended, now they have to defend themselves and offend or attack others. So you see, it's this personalization that when we get overly identified with the personality, that creates a lot of unhappiness for us, a lot of conflict in the world. But when we can make that shift to presence, it's impersonal. And when you're impersonal, you're free of the personality. It's not to say you don't have a personality. It's just you're not identified as the personality. So things aren't so personal. So you don't take things so personal. When you're not taking things so personal, well, there's a lot less seriousness about them. So there's a more relaxation. There's more of a carefree. There's more of a resting, a peace, because there's no more conflict. And this is discovered the more and more present you become. The more present you become, you find yourself not thinking. You find yourself not carrying around the story of you. Most people, they're carrying around the story of them. And it's the story that they're carrying around that limits their life, because they're basing everything in their life off of the story. And the story is just everything that's happened to you in your past. But when we look at the present moment closer, that there is just only the present moment. It's a continuation or a continuum of the now. When we really look at time, we see that we're creating time with our thoughts. We're creating the thought of the past, thought of the present, thought of the future, and it's this timeline. That's time. But when you're present, as that presence, it's timeless. There's no time. There's no perception of time. Because there's no thought of the past. There's no thought of the future. It's an eternal presence. Eternal now. So when you see that actually no one has ever experienced the past and no one has actually experienced the future, and it's impossible to experience the future and it's impossible to experience the past. If I can't experience the past and no one can, and if I can't experience the future and no one can, then why do I believe that it exists? Because in reality, it doesn't exist. The future is just a thought, and the past is just a thought. And the only thing that exists is here and now. There's only here and now. And what here and now is the present moment. So the only thing that exists is the present moment. But if we're not present to the moment, then that means that we're absent. And if we're absent to the present moment, then where are we? If we're absent to reality, if we're not in reality, then where are we? We're lost in a dream. And the dream is our thoughts. When we start thinking of the past and the future, essentially, we're just dreaming. Because it doesn't exist. All those thoughts of the future, it doesn't exist. All the thoughts of the past, it doesn't exist. You can't experience it. All you're experiencing is your thoughts of the past. All you're experiencing is your thoughts of the future. When tomorrow comes, you experience tomorrow here and now. You experience tomorrow as now. Nothing ever happened in the past because the past doesn't exist. Nothing ever happened in the past because when it was experienced, it was also now. If you wake up and have a shower tomorrow morning, while having that shower, you'll perceive it, you'll experience it now. So once you start seeing that there is only now, there is only here, even when you drive somewhere 2 hours away and you get out of your car, if you ask yourself, where am I? You'll say, I'm here. So even though you drove there, it's experienced as here. So the life experience that each of us have is only experienced here and now, the present moment. That's where life is. Life is the present moment. So you can see if I'm absent to the present moment, I'm also absent to life. I'm not experiencing life. What am I experiencing? I'm experiencing my thoughts of life. And they're so completely different. Most people are not experiencing life. They're experiencing their thoughts of life. And most people don't like what they think. So they don't like what they think about life. They're experiencing what they don't. They're experiencing a negative thought about life. And this would be unhappiness. So once you start seeing it like this, once you can start realizing this truth and you start seeing it experientially in your own life, you start to become aware of it. Like right now, I might have been talking for 7 minutes now. Who knows? But I'm still here and you're still there. And you're not really there. You're here. This experience is happening here and now. When are you watching me? Now. Where are you watching me? Here. So it changes things because then you start to really value the present moment. And when you start valuing the present moment, you also start appreciating the present moment. And when you're appreciating the present moment, you're also grateful. You're grateful and you're feeling a great fullness because everything is in the present moment. Everything real is in the present moment. Everything unreal is just thoughts of the future and thoughts of the past. That's unreal. Remember, it doesn't exist. The more we're present, the more we're timeless. There's no Sense of time. This is what people say when they say, I was in the zone. And it was like, time just vanished. Man, I was in the zone. How long was I playing basketball for? How long was I hiking for? How long was I, whatever it is, cutting the grass, washing the car, skateboarding, sailing a boat? Whenever you're very present, you'll find that time just disappears. And it's exactly for the reason that I'm telling you. Is because the time is only when you're thinking about the future and thinking about the past. That's time. When you're just here and now, not thinking, then you're timeless. So there's a huge amount of power to being present. Because the presence is the power. When you are present, you'll actually start feeling this power. This power can actually pull people into you. It helps them actually become more present. They'll say things like, whoa, where did the time go? I just love that conversation. I was really into that conversation with you. Just love being around you. It's like we're just really both in the zone. That's that power of presence. That power of presence can make other people present. It helps them connect to the present moment more. The more that you become present, the more you become present, the more of life you get to experience. So it's a huge power. That presence can transform others. That presence can transform a space, a room. That's why some people you feel like, wow, when they're present, they've got a presence to them when they walk in the room. You can feel it. It's like they're bigger than their body because that's what it is. It's way bigger than the body. The more present you are, the more you're everywhere. The more present you are, the more connected to everything you are. When you're present, that's where you can have a deeper connection with someone. Have you ever noticed that when you're talking to someone and they're not present? It's like they're not even there. You're, hello, where are they? They're daydreaming. They're dreaming. Exactly what I said earlier in the video. If you're not present, you're absent. And where are you? If you're not here, then where are you? They're lost in a dream. What's that dream? Well, thinking about the past, thinking about the future. Where is the past and where is the future? I'll wait. You go to the past, bring me something back. You can't. How about the future? Go to the future, bring me something back. Tell me what the future's like. No one has done it. No one has ever gone to the future and come back. Hey, well, yeah, it's a lot warmer, and they have like new technology. Bring me back some of that technology. No one's ever done it. So if it's something that we can't experience, why do we insist on it being real? The only thing real are things that we can experience. Something that we can experience makes it real. Something that no one has experienced and no one ever will. Why do we insist on believing that it's real? That's the dream. So once you start seeing this, then you can catch yourself when you're thinking about the future or thinking about the past. And just the catching of it, just the awareness. Oh my goodness, I've been planning and planning and planning and thinking and worrying about all this stuff that's going to happen. Have you ever noticed that when we think about the future, we're usually anxious and worried and stressed? And have you also noticed that our thinking of the future is always creating problems and then trying to solve those problems? And usually we're creating the problems in the sense that they're the worst case scenarios. So I'm imagining the worst case scenarios that are only happening in the future. I'm imagining the worst case scenario that's going to happen next week. Yeah, but here I am right now, here and now, today, and I can't do a thing about next week. So what's the point of me thinking about it? What's the point of worrying? The worrying doesn't solve anything next week. The worrying it's not going to fix anything. All it's doing is it's making me worried right now. So when I start realizing this and start seeing and catching myself with awareness, I'm thinking about the future. It's a negative experience. I'm feeling shitty because I'm thinking about a negative experience that I don't want to experience. Why do I keep doing this? There's some people that literally just dream up the worst case scenarios possible. Oh, we're going to run out of gas, and then we're going to be stranded, and then grizzly bears are going to eat us, and then we're all going to die. Worst case scenario. Why? Why? What's the point? What's the point? There's no point to it. That's when you can bring yourself back to the present moment by simply just focusing on your breath. Because you can't breathe in the future and you can't breathe in the past. You can easily make yourself present by just focusing on your breath or focusing on your senses. What am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I tasting? What am I touching? What am I smelling? And you're not asking yourself that question. You're just being aware of the senses. You're being aware of your environment, being aware of your body. And you'll find when you are more present to your body, because again, your body is present. It's not in the future and it's not in the past. It's easy to ground yourself to the present moment. It's like your anchor. It's like what you can come back to. Get back in your body. Get out of your dream. Just get back in your body. Feel your body. Feel those sensations. Smell, hear, taste, touch. Right? So that will help make you more present. And you'll find that when you're present, you're more calm, you're more relaxed. You're not stressed. There's no problems. You're good. You're okay. Where you're not okay is dreaming in the future of your car breaking down, getting stranded and eaten by grizzly bears. So you can start seeing that was all imagination. And likewise, we do it with our memory, where we remember things that happened long time ago, and then we replay them. And every time that we're trying to remember something, it's not actually how it was. Every time we remember something, it's like there's more and more distortion. Whatever we're actually remembering, it's so distorted at that time of remembering, especially when it's years ago. Or you've remembered it so many times then now it's like you're adding to it. You add to the story, you add to the memory, you change things. By the 5th time remembering something, it's like it's not really even the thing that you actually experienced, which was here and now. So it's this huge distortion. So it's not even real. And then that distortion makes me unhappy, makes me sad, makes me depressed, makes me resentful, angry. Well, it's coming because of my memory. So you can see that a lot of my unhappiness is created from my memory, and a lot of my unhappiness is created from my imagination. What I'm saying is when you're present, you're not doing that. You're not imagining worst case scenarios, and you're not remembering worst case scenarios. And when you're not imagining bad experiences, and when you're not remembering bad experiences, well, you're just present. And you find that when you're actually present, the you, the thought of who you are is not there. Your story is not there. It's like you disappear. And when you're disappearing, or when you're disappeared, when you're not there, what's left is happiness. Have you ever noticed that? When you become very present, you're not caring what other people think of you and trying to mold your identity and your self-image. You're not trying to maintain your self-image. You're not explaining your story and trying to manage that story and referencing your past and your future and all of these bundle of thoughts and feelings. None of that is happening. But when you're actually very present, there's a peace, there's a happiness, there's a serenity, there's a love that you are aware of. But the you, the mind-made sense of self, who you think you are, is nowhere to be found. It disappeared. And it's ironic because when the sense of self is not there, when the mind-made sense of self, when the ego, when the identity, when the person is not there, right? By person, I mean the concept, the idea of who you are, not how people refer to that's a person. That's a body. That's not a person. A person is a concept. This is a body. So when the concept of who you are is not there, what's there? Happiness, fullness, completeness, freedom, love, peace. Everything is there. So that's kind of how we get in our own way. We get in our own way. It's the saying. We get in our own way. We're getting in our way of happiness, which is always here. It's always present. So you find if you're not happy, you're most likely lost in the future or stuck in the past. And it's becoming aware of that gets you out of that. Because once you're aware that you're lost in the future, once you're aware that you're always projecting goals and driving so hard towards the future, which doesn't exist, or once you're aware that you're stuck in the past and you're constantly remembering old past memories and trying to replay them and trying to relive them, trying to recreate them, then you find yourself that you can focus on your breath or focus on your body, focus on your senses, and then you're present. And then you can enjoy that happiness, that peace, that freedom, that love that's always here. It's always here. It's free. You don't need to do anything to even get it. It's the doing that prevents you from being happy. It's all the doing, trying to go get something in the future, achieve something. What are we trying to achieve? This, and then I'll be happy. So the ultimate thing that we're trying to achieve is we're trying to achieve that happiness. But it's here and now, in the present moment. And there's no conditions to it. It's unconditional happiness. We don't have to do X, Y, and Z. Those are conditions. Condition X, condition Y, and condition Z. Then I'll be happy once those conditions are fulfilled. But the real happiness that's always here, it's unconditional. We just have to be present. And if we're not present, we're absent. So the other way of saying that is we're absent to the happiness that's always here. It's always here. It's always now. We're just thinking too much. We're just dreaming. We're just dreaming. We're remembering the past. We're imagining the future. And these are kind of our barriers to experiencing that happiness that we all want, that we're all after. And it's right here in the present moment. And you'll find that the more present you are, the happier you are. And that's what everyone is really after. They're after that happiness. And when you become fully present, you find yourself as that happiness. You find that you are the happiness that you seek. But that can only be discovered in the present moment. And that's the power of presence.